Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the R&D Podcast. I am your host, Rachel.
And I'm Delia.
And in this episode, we're going to be talking about how to navigate your relationship and even raise your family in a digital age.
That's a toughie. Yeah. You know, if I had $1 for every time I hear the stories of, you know, this person was communicating with this person, and then now, you know, there's a lot of stuff that's going on, by the way. A lot of these people are, like, say, for instance, if you have young children, there are a lot of predators that are acting like they're equally the same age, and, you know, they're having conversations with your kids without you realizing it. Sometimes it just seems like so innocent. I recently found out, by the way, I'm obviously kind of oblivious to this world. You know, did you know that in the app Roadblocks, you can actually have conversation with other people within?
Roblox, yes.
I did not know that, by the way. I had no idea. And so I think that, you know, you give your child, you know, the iPad, and you're like, here, go play. Because I do believe that these days, our kids are being raised by the digital platforms, the digital, you know, iPads, you know, the phones. And I think that, you know, you're like doing dinner and then you hand them the iPad. Next thing you know, they're conversating with someone in another, you know, state or country. So I think it's important for us to kind of be a little bit more diligent, more mindful, more, you know, looking into their stuff. You know, it's kind of a scary world out there, I got to tell you.
It really is. I almost, you know, it causes me to look back at my younger son, who's now in his mid-20s.
Oh, yeah.
And when he was coming up, you know, it was still dial-up technology. We're going into some fiber optics and things like that. With, what is it called? DSL or something like that.
Yeah.
But he used to play Club Penguin. So he was in elementary school, first grade, and all the kids were on Club Penguin. And on that game, for example, I thought it was so cute because he had his penguin, and then he built his igloo, and then he could invite his friends from school and stuff, which were also penguins in the program, to come visit his igloo. And he would even come to me and say, Mom, you know, can I get some money? The credit card, basically, because his penguin didn't have a jacket, and there was no furniture in his igloo. Where his friends were like, one of his friends had like a little DJ set in the igloo, like so the parents were like, you know, hooking up the igloos and stuff. But what I'm getting at is that was something that he played on the computer, and it never occurred to me to go in and like read the chats. And so now, fast forward, you know, 20 years or whatever it's been, you know, and you hear these stories of like what you just said, you know, predatory adult men or women, you know, posing as children to sort of get access to the kids and get the kids to send compromising photos of themselves. Because now there's that type of messaging, right, in these games.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, there's that aspect of it that I think that, you know, we were completely oblivious to as children, that now we have to kind of be with the times, and we have to figure out what the technologies are doing. And, you know, there's like all these different apps that are being created, a lot of different AI apps. And so I think we have to be we have to be, you know, wise, and we have to know, we got to look into the things. And not to mention, you know, even for like, say, grown adults, you know, I'm going to take it there for people that are single and or married. I can't stress this enough. I say this a lot. I think these days it's really, really easy to cheat, but it's really easy to get caught. And I always say this, you know, like back in the day, and I always make this reference, it's like when your grandfather or your dad was gonna go get, you know, something from the market, maybe he kind of looks at the people that are there, but like it doesn't go any further than that, other than maybe like a quick conversation. These days, you know, it's really easy to just scan a QR code here, follow me on Instagram, follow me on this. You actually have all your different ways to communicate with you. And most of the time, if you're a business person, your phone number is going to be on there. Your email is going to be on there. There's so many ways to get in contact with people. And so I think that, you know, it's setting rules, I guess, and expectations on how each person's going to move in the business world, in the digital age, in business or in friendships or whatever the case may be, you know. I remember back in the day, you know, you would know that someone went on a trip because you go visit them. Maybe they had a photo album. Maybe they're showing you pictures. These days, you are seeing it as they're on their trip and who they're with. And, you know, not to mention, a lot of people get caught up because it's like, oh, you have a group of friends, so now this person gets sneaky, then they start to follow that friend to see what they're posting, because this person might put it only on friends only, so then that way it stays very within the friend group.
But someone
else might be public and be like, you know, balls to the wall. And so I think there's so many things to that I think that, you have to set expectations if you're married, and you have to set expectations if you're engaged, or if you have, significant other. And even with children, by the way, there's like a set of expectations that need to be had in order for you to know how you're going to move.
Yeah, I think the boundaries, identifying the boundaries, because I think kids aren't going to really know. No. And I think that as parents, educating, becoming educated on what the predators are doing and saying or utilizing as tools and stuff like that. I'm going to kind of dive into the family aspect that has been really coming up lately. You might have seen it on social media on TikTok. But there is with AI, right, voice mimicking software. And yes. It is calling people. Let's just say, Delia, you get a phone call from your daughter's phone number, and it's your daughter's voice and her crying saying, Mom, they took me, and unless you pay this money, they're not gonna give me back. And it's her because ID told you so. Her voice, and it's this whole thing, and the AI can do this. And then next thing you know, you're scrambling, trying to go to the bank, trying to get the money. You're trying to call the police, or they're saying, "Don't call the police, or we're gonna, do whatever something worse to her." And this is happening, and then it turns out to just be some random person, down the street that was able to sort of triangulate, your daughter's phone number and do that. And then they look for mom, and they know what to do because they can access the contacts. It's like if they're in their phone, but it's from their phone. And this is happening, and there's this man who was in his 60s, and he's like, it was my daughter, and she's in college, and or whatever, and he goes, I believed it. So people have been scammed out of a lot of money. And then there was one story like this, and the parents called the brother, because it was a person mimicking their daughter, who's an adult, and a young adult. And so they called the brother, and they were like, oh my God, this is what's happening. And as the parents who were older were explaining what she said and what happened and everything, he said, hold on, did you call her? And they were like, well, no, because she called us. And he's like, hold on, stay on the line. Calls her, and she's like, hey, what's going on? She's on her college campus or wherever she was at. And he's like, I knew it. And calls the parents and said, call the police. Keep it going, if it's you believe it,
real
but
stuff.
Call the police.
That's intense.
And so the police were like, yeah, we don't know, we have no means to stop it. So here's the solution. Wow. You might be listening to that going, oh my God, what would I do?
Yeah.
So celebrities, everybody are starting to create safe words in their family. And so because technology is getting so far ahead of regulation, technology is always going to supersede regulation and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So have a safe word, whether your child is little and you say, hey, if they don't give you the safe word, you don't get to go in the car with them. All the way on up to your college-age daughter, son, and even your spouse.
Right.
Have a safe word, because technology is getting very, very nuts. Yeah. And you never know if you'll get one of those calls.
You know what? I never heard of that. And it's very intense that you're saying that, because I think a lot of the time, I heard about this particular, this thing where you actually get a text like, oh, biggest sell, blah, 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 Ray-Bans, $20, $19.99 or whatever, and you click on it. You think it's just propaganda,
like an ad or whatever.
But for whatever, when you click on that, you are allowing them access to your phone, so they can literally have access to your phone up to 30 to 45 days, depending. Once you click that text message. So for me, I delete, report to junk right away. But there's only so many things that you can do, and there's so many different barriers of protection that you're going to build in order for you to know, okay, if something happens, okay, what's a safe word, what are we doing, that kind of thing. I know that with my bank, I was almost getting hacked a lot, and I was able to hear a conversation of someone trying to get into my bank accounts, and I actually have a safe word of some dish I like, some dish, and she was saying, what was the first dish you learned how to cook? And it was tube steak, and I was like, okay, this person's not even, that has no idea. But the point is that a lot of the time, you write a check, or maybe, I know these days people don't write checks, but there's been so many things with even a 7-Eleven where they're going to take all your information. You've seen that where the guy, I don't know if you've seen it on TikTok, where someone's about to pay, and for whatever reason, something makes them lift up the little the thing to pay. Oh my gosh, I went blank on it. And they're basically swiping your information. And same thing at the gas stations. That's very common to pay outside, and then they'll swipe your information.
So I know that I think it was Andy Cohen, and maybe there was another person too, and they said that they were contacted, and I know DJ Khaled talks about this too, but But they were contacted by their bank.
Okay.
And they said there's been a charge that we're questioning.
Okay.
And it's this, and it's for like $5,000.
Yeah.
So they'll say like some amount, and then the person on the phone, in this case I think it was Andy Cohen or whoever, and was like, "What? No, you're kidding." They're like, "Yeah, we just need you to verify the last, like the last 6 or the first 4.
Okay.
Not even transaction, like the number for the account." And they're essentially trying to solve what the account number is. Okay, so what's the last 4 of your social? Okay, what's your mother's maiden name?
Oh, no.
Right? And they're like, oh, it's, but it's the bank calling them.
Oh, yeah.
So here's the thing. Like, the bank's not going to call you. Like, they might send you an authenticity thing or an alert, and they'll say, call us. Even that, you have to be careful. So what ended up happening in that case is he's over here trying to get information, doing all this kind of stuff. This happened to another person. I can't think of who it is. And they went round and round and round and gave so much information that I believe he actually was hacked.
Damn.
On the one account.
Damn.
So another person, I can't remember who his business person was, that happened to them, and they started asking questions, and they're driving, and they're going, oh my God, I don't remember my PIN number. Oh my gosh, trying to get all this stuff for them to stop this transaction.
Shoot.
And it was fraudulent.
Yeah, I got a call that was kind of like that also, and they're like, you're normally not late on your account, and it's like linked to my Chase account, and he's like, do you want to process payment now? And I was like, absolutely not. I said, I'm going to the branch. You don't have to do that. We could take care of it right now. I'm like, absolutely not. I'm going to the branch. So I think oftentimes, with anything, you just gotta get those barriers up. Okay, in that case, go to the bank. Which bank do you bank with? And I know we're kind of maybe veering off of what we're talking about, but in reality, it's all within
part of the digital things that
era.
you should be worried about, whether it's with your partner, with your children, with your finances. The digital age isn't going away.
That's true. And so now on another note, kind of like veering off from everything that we were just talking, which is really, really dark.
Yeah.
How do you feel about now taking it to the digital era? And people that are on dating profiles, and now they're like, lying about what they look like, because oftentimes that's what they're
filters
doing.
and stuff like that.
Yes. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
So I've been,
angles, we know lighting, that kind of thing is like kind of a big deal.
So I can tell you something that personally has taken place with me.
Yeah.
When you and I started this show in 2020. We started filming it, and then we would be like, oh, the lighting and the cameras and the filters. Yes. And I think we looked really nice. Skin was looking good, smiles and all that kind of stuff. Nice. And then you had a mirror in your house, and then we walked by, and it was like, what? Like, that's so weird. Like, why do we look like that?
Yeah.
And so I think what ended up happening in my mind was, no one's really going to meet me in person, right? I have a small circle.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter that I was using filters. Then my career started shifting, and I started to meet a lot of people that maybe see me online or on this content and stuff like that. And then they're like, "Oh, it's so nice to meet you." And I would feel like I know I look like different, because I'm using filters. So I have now challenged myself to go as filterless as possible. Now I'm still trying to do the makeup and like the good lighting.
What about like Pamela Anderson, right?
Angles.
Like you talk about no makeup,
not.
You know what I mean? Like
we're not going there.
No, I mean she's a beautiful lady in her own right. However, there are times where just a little bit of powder is okay.
I think with her it was different because her longtime makeup artist passed away right before that event, and she said, I will rather go barefaced than have another makeup artist take her place for this moment. Snap. So that was more of a homage to her.
I didn't even know that.
It was a homage to her MUA. And so I think it was extreme, and it was
a bit
both.
Extreme, yeah.
I have actually gone live on TikTok without makeup on, and I have now done a couple Zooms without doing my makeup, and it's my own way to sort of challenge myself to say, no matter what I look like or how I feel or whatever, I'm going to still do the thing.
Yeah.
And I think that I'm trying to be a little more authentic for myself, because you see yourself in these filters and you're just like, wow. And then all of a sudden, like, I'll see myself in the rearview mirror and go, what? Like, what is that?
I had a rough day. Like this, man, I didn't sleep all day. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I need coffee.
It's like,
How about when people say, "Are you getting sick?" Like,
okay, are you not sleeping? I was literally born with bags under my eyes.
Yeah, are you not sleeping well? I was like, oh, I'm like looking at my bed. I'm like, I slept like 9-10 hours. I think I'm good.
I mean, the truth is, if you see someone, if you're a girl, a woman, and you're seeing this, don't call someone out and say that they look tired.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like,
but I got to tell you, we're in this building, and I met somebody, through finances, and she gave me a business card, and I was really shocked. She's like, "Oh, that was before COVID," and I'm like, "We're in 2023." You know what I mean? So I was like, I looked at the business card. I look up at her.
No, you didn't.
I swear, and I try to really like not be that person, but I was like, "Is this the same person?" I was like, "This is not," and then I was like, "Oh, okay," because I think she could tell, and I was like,
reacted to it
a little bit, yeah. And I was like, maybe do a digital card and like put an updated picture. Like, I'm telling you, she looked like respectfully, she looked like night and day. And I know I do that too. Don't get it twisted. Like, I know I do, because I look different in different settings and whatever I'm doing. But this was different to me because I literally I was like. And I thought she gave me like a colleague's business card. And I looked at her and I was like, this isn't the same person, like different everything. So I guess at the end of the day, if you are online and you are, dating, I think it's better to just be really try to be as authentic as you can,
Okay, so
as
talking
much as you
about
can.
talking about the online dating thing, right? I don't want to go on the apps. We did the whole Bumble challenge,
that
and
was,
I was like
that was
traumatized.
a flop.
So I was like, I got to know. But I will tell you, these videos that have been coming out, men are getting very, very bold, ladies. I saw now 3 different videos. So we do a lot of research for what we're doing here to prepare the topics, and sometimes the algorithm then responds, right? So there was a video. The man is clearly sitting on a bed of a motel room or hotel room, and there's a woman at the edge of the bed, the front of the bed.
Don't tell me it was a man.
And her hair, it's like the back of her hair,
yeah.
And he has the camera out, and he said, "Turn around."
Oh,
Show them your face. And she's like, "No, what?" And he's all, "Y'all," because this man is a black man, and he's like, "Y'all," he's like, "This woman, I've been talking to her for 3 months. I follow her on Instagram. I see her. I met her on the dating app." He's like, "She sends me pictures." He goes, "And she gets here, and it's like not the same person." And she keeps saying it is. And he's like, "This is a catfish." And he's like saying he's like, "What's the name for it?" Because he's trying to think of the name. And he gets up and walks around, and she's like, "Stop," and like whatever. He's all, "Look at this," and then he puts up a screenshot of like what he fell for, like what he was in, like what he liked about her. It was night and day.
I think I saw that, and I don't want to be rude, but I think she looked like Beetlejuice's cousin.
The cousin, or the little head dude. Because she had like the buggy eyes.
I saw that.
I
said, it's got, God forgive me. I'm sorry.
All right.
But he did. She did.
So the guy,
she did, right? She looked like Beetlejuice's cousin. For real.
I'm in the car, guys. I'm buckled in and I was driving. No, so seriously, like I've seen a few videos now of men going, "No, this is some BS," and just like busting out the camera and being like, "Check this out. This is something totally different than what she portrayed herself to be." So I feel like, I know for me on a personal note, I'm challenging myself to show up in the world just more authentically and being like, but mindful of angles, mindful of lighting. So then my aunt will be like, "Oh, that picture you posted, you look so much thinner. Like, did you edit it?" And it's like, no, sometimes I'm going to look chubbier and sometimes I'm going to look thinner because of the angles or the lighting or whatever.
Of course.
And so it's
and
just...
some girls really know their side. Like, oh, no, that's my good side. Like, I don't know my good side. I just kind of go with the go.
We're just like,
But, I mean, I definitely, do the makeup and the this, and I'm guilty of all the things. But, man, I did see that. And that's the first thing it's the first thing I thought is, like, she has, like, that whole thing, and again, I'm not trying to, but I saw the video, and I'm not going to keep putting more dirt in there, but that's just kind of crazy though.
Okay, so let's talk about so I know we're going a little long. Let's talk about ChatGPT.
Oh man, ChatGPT is my best friend, for sure. I think ChatGPT is pretty awesome. I mean, you could ask it anything and it just regurgitates anything that you want it to do. Like, hey, I need a business plan and I need to say this and I need to start there and I needed to whatever it is, and it's just like in less than 10 seconds it's like giving you a whole list of things that you got to do. How to start a YouTube, how to start a podcast, how to start whatever. It literally gives you, step by step on how you could do it. And I think it's freaking phenomenal. And imagine, this is just the beginning.
It's just the beginning.
And that's kind of scary.
It's on stage 4, and they're coming out with more stages, and the paid version's amazing. Like, I do know that for business, because I have another business, and we use it at 2 other businesses, and we use it for both the other businesses because we do a lot of blogging and things like that, and website content, and social posts and stuff like that. So we do use it. It's a wonderful tool. But I will tell you, the reason I wanted to bring it up is because I can sense that the era of original thought is leaving, right? That we are exiting that. So we're 1 foot in and 1 foot out.
Yes.
And I consider myself a very creative person, and I have and people come to me from my original thought, my perspectives on things. And so I'm really starting to realize, like, ooh, enjoy this moment. So I do my best, although I'll Google things though, and some of that. I'm doing my best not to go to ChatGPT to do some of that lifting for me, because I'm, by the way, I've been buying notebooks and I'm writing down all these original ideas that I have, so that I have a documentation of my original thought, because I know that it's leaving. I know that the time has come where that ship is going to sail. We might go down the road in 10 years where then original thought is more valuable, like say a Bentley that's made by hand. A certain type of watch, right? A Patek Philippe might be worth more forever because they're sitting there handcrafting it. Yeah. So, but those are few and far between,
I agree.
Right?
I mean, I agree. I mean, and if you really want to go down that deep rabbit hole, I would say that the next is probably microchipping in the brain, Neuralink with Elon Musk, and that's probably going to be one of the things that most people are going to think, I'm a superhuman. I don't need to have original thought. I could just,
or I don't need to hold the phone in my hand. I think a lot of people don't realize, like the cyborg thing, like we're already there. You're already holding a device. It's an extension of you, and your thought passes through that device in your hand, and then you take action or not based on what that device is feeding you.
But I'm sure that you've noticed that you're like, oh, you know what? I need to go to the store. I need to buy this. And then all of a sudden, there's this like ad for the thing you're trying to buy, and you're like, man, I'm psychic. It's like, no, the phone is freaking.
They already have that technology.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, we're already kind of cyborgs to our technology. Yeah. And so I think that, unfortunately, if we're going to take it down to the technology route, I don't want to get so deep in there. Yeah. I do believe that the generation of our children are going to think it's okay to microchip. I think that, as you get to talk to older people, they might know that it's just not the thing to do. But I think if it's going to be one of those things where everyone's doing it, and if this person's a superhuman, you have to compete with superhumans. And so there's going to be a challenge there, in my opinion.
And they're just going to say, hey, all they're doing is getting rid of the phone. We're already doing all that. Do that through an external attachment, which is the phone. Yep. And Neuralink says, well, you can have all that, but without your phone. It's just there.
It's there.
And so I can see that easy bridge. I can see that bridge so clearly.
I can see it too.
We're going to have a lot of decisions to make, ladies and gentlemen, regarding technology and your family and what to do in the digital age. But currently, there's already a lot of things to watch out for. Yes. But there's a lot of benefits. And, you can use technology to, if you're a gentleman watching this and you're not very romantic, what to say to your wife. Like, maybe you go to ChatGPT. And you know,
I'm writing you a 4-page love letter, and it's like, not really. ChatGPT wrote it for you. It's okay. Just add a little. When I met you in, I don't know, whatever year that was. Yes. You just got to put a little bit of that extra information that that ChatGPT doesn't know. Yes. Nobody's gonna know.
So listen, at the end of the day, your kids, go into those chat rooms, man. Go to those chat logs with your kids. Have conversations with your children, with your family. Mm-hmm. Create a safe word, please, no matter the age. If you have aging parents that are retired, seniors, safe word. So important. And if you are using it in business or to date, try not to do so many filters, even in business, because then they meet you at a conference or something, and they're like,
that girl, I was like, say what? That's not the same girl. I was like, you do this, what do you do for a living? Oh, is that for real? You do that? No, just kidding. But
Photoshop is getting crazy.
Yeah, I know. But so,
that's it, guys.
Stay safe, guys.
Cheers.